evening, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are watching us from. This is the very first episode of Connect with Comfort show in this new year, 2024. I am Comfort Eyitayo, your regular host for Connect with Comfort show. I wish you the very best of compliments for this new year. As it is usual on this program, we aim to add value to people on business, enterprise, and personal growth. Each show is organized to feature guests who are subject matter experts that would throw more insight on the topic of the day. I am glad that you are able to join us today. You are very welcome. The topic for today is a very interesting one and very appropriate for this time that we're in. And that is motivating your team for success in times like this. I know you all know the time we are in is quite challenging, both in Nigeria and even all over the world, as the indices indicate. In times of uncertainty and change, the ability to motivate and inspire our teams become more crucial than ever. As we navigate through the challenges and uncertainties that surround us, it is essential for us to foster a sense of resilience, collaboration, and shared purpose within our team. Today, we will be exploring the strategies and insights on how we can effectively motivate our team for success, even in the face of adversity. The current landscape may be challenging, but it also presents us with opportunity to strengthen our bonds, enhance our skills, and emerge stronger as a cohesive and high-performing team. We have the right person in the house to help us to shed more insight into this very crucial topic. So as we delve into the topic, let's make our time together both insightful and empowering. This we shall do immediately after the short break. Please stay connected. We'll be right back. Thank you. You are welcome back. I hope you got a hint or two from that inspirational video. telling us that we are stronger and better when we combine our forces and resources together. My guest today is Ayodele Awi, a business analyst, career and talent management expert. Ayodele is a renowned expert in team motivation, tech expert, and also an IT consultant. So you agree with me that we have the right person to be looking at this topic for us. Please join me in making welcome our expert in the house today, our distinguished guest, Mr. Ayodele Awi. You are welcome, Ayodele.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much for agreeing to share your valuable experience with our audience today in order to help them to build the right team. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Eyitayo. Thank you so much for having me on the program. It's such a privilege to be able to share my insights on this very important and timely topic. I think it's something that at this point in our economy, in our situation as a country, it's so important to emphasize the need to keep the team motivated. And I'm very delighted to have the opportunity to speak to this today. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. You are most welcome. So, without much ado, we go straight to our interview segment in order for us to interrogate this very crucial topic for our success and growth as a person and business. So, let me start by asking you, how do you define success for your team in the current challenging environment?
Yeah, I believe generally that success might have various meanings and interpretations to different people and different teams, depending on the context. But of course, when working within a team, success then becomes how we are able to measure the achievement of organizational goals that we've set for ourselves. So, as an organization, as a team, there are clearly some goals that we want to achieve together that would help define how we can say we are progressing as a team. And success will be defined by our ability to realistically increase, our progress towards the achievement of that outcome, and be able to measure effectively how much we're doing, how well we're doing in achieving the overall goal of the team or the organization. That for me would be the definition of success in this instance.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for that in-depth definition. That helps us to throw light to the reason why we need to consider this topic at this very point in time and early in the year when everybody is ready to go higher in their
Yes.
businesses. So, what specific challenges would you say your team currently face that we can borrow idea from, and how are these challenges impacting motivation?
Thank you very much. Of course, one of the realistic challenges that we're faced in the country, in Nigeria, at the moment is the economic hardship. And so, um, team members would have challenges to be able to effectively transport themselves to the place of work. Some team members will struggle with personal challenges. Um, and those personal challenges are things that they often also translate into their behaviors and attitude at work. You would see sometimes some team members are easily angered. They are constantly on the edge. You'd see that there is also these trickles of friction between, team members. Team members who usually work together harmoniously. You will start to see instances of frequent fights or frequent disconnects between them. And this is not particularly because they are not happy working together. It's just the fact that many people are dealing with, different stuffs in their personal lives that they bring to the workplace. And so these are some common challenges that we're faced with currently. Also in terms of doing business. The business landscape is also grossly affected at this period, and you would see that it takes a bit more effort to then ensure that your business line is well serviced. And so these are some of the corporate challenges that we have at the moment. They seem to also have impact on motivation or on team members' behavior. But of course, the good thing is that there are always strategies to manage them, and I hope to share some of the strategies as we move on.
Fantastic. It's like you are reading my mind, because flowing from what you have just said, I was going to ask you, how then do you approach motivating such a workforce or team? Because like you have rightly said, different circumstances, different situations that apply to individuals can bring about transferred aggression.
Mm.
Like you said, it's not because they don't want to work together, but there are other things that are eating them that is different from the work situation. But they have to vent that when they come to work. So how do you motivate such team?
Thank you very
What
much. I
strategy?
think
Yeah.
motivating a team in challenging situations would often begin with open communication. Um, Now, as difficult as human beings may seem, one way to crack everyone down is to show that we can listen to them. And I think organizations need to do this more. We need to be very intentional and strategic in the way we listen to the team members or people that we work with. And so, one of the things that we do in my team is that we prioritize open communication and transparency within the team. We intentionally create structures that allow for feedback, structure that allows for communication, structures that allow expression of feelings, from team members. We don't want a situation where we as management are the ones dishing out instructions every time, dishing out advice. We want to be able to think or to see the situation from their standpoint. And the only way to do that is to provide an opportunity for them to say what they feel, to express their minds, and we create opportunities for them to do that. Now, while doing that, we believe we can also foster a sense of unity and purpose. We can ensure that team members recognize the fact that there are challenges that are corporate challenges. There are challenges that they affect all of us. And we can emphasize on collective strengths that comes from our collaboration on how we deal with those challenges. Also, one of the things we try to do is to also then focus on individual strengths. So sometimes, like recently, we did an assessment that is called the DISC assessment. Now, the DISC assessment is an assessment that helps you to understand your personalities and how that is shaped in the workplace. So we try to see what are the individual strengths that people have. We try to highlight members' unique skills and how this can help us contribute to overall resilience and adaptability within the organization. So I give an example. Some of the things we've been doing recently is to create regular team meetings where we just have open conversations. We usually do a particular one that is called, a family call on Fridays. And on Fridays, what we do on the family call is we just want to come informally and just chat about challenges, about what's happening. Create about 30 minutes where people can have open, frank, and honest conversations. And in having these conversations, you are beginning to see what is key, or what are the key challenges, or what are the key priorities for different people. And then we are able to then structure solutions that are focused or directed or targeted at those kind of challenges. So we emphasize the importance of flexibility, innovation, encouraging them to also propose creative solutions themselves. So management must also realize that we are not always the one with the right solutions. We need to encourage team members to share what they think the solutions will be, and we must recognize and celebrate small wins so that we can keep their morale high. And then the collective effort will not only help us weather through the tough times, but it would also position the team for success when those conditions are improved.
That's very good. You've actually touched on the other question I wanted to raise regarding the morale. That how do you actually address that? But I think you mentioned that. So, what if you look at the team members? How do you now address different reactions to stressful situation? It could be within the workplace. It could be something that they brought from somewhere else. So how do we tailor our motivational strategies to address the diverse needs and concerns of team members?
Thank you very much for that. So generally what we try to do, like when I was talking about morale the other time, what we try to do is when we look at different team members and how they respond to stressful situations, we try to also help them to maintain a healthy work-life balance. Now this is very important. We have to understand that people have a life outside of work, and so the life they have outside of work is as important as the work that they do. And we want to ensure that to prevent burnout, people live a healthy work life balance. For example, if it is not very, very urgent, there is no point for anyone to work outside of usual working hours. Weekends is for them to spend time with their family, is for them to spend time with themselves to do other things that they like to do. Now, because these things also provide some sort of inspiration, some sort of energy. For example, people who are faith-based, they might want to go to their places of worship on Sunday, spend time with spend time to worship and things like that. And all of these things are things that help them to avoid burnout. You see that they come back to work on Mondays and they feel refreshed. So that's one of the things we do. But then beyond that, we also try to employ a personalized approach. So one of the things I always encourage is to have one-on-one sessions. So for big organizations, there are ways to also do it. You can break it down into team structures. And within a smaller team, you make sure that the team leader creates time to spend one-on-one with team members. Now, these one-on-one sessions are sessions where you want to listen to their individual concerns, their preferences to work styles. You want to be able to adapt your strategies accordingly to the needs of different people. By acknowledging and accommodating these varying work styles and personal circumstances, we can then create a supportive environment that will resonate with everyone. For example, if you have women who are pregnant in the workplace, the challenges that are of key importance to them will be different. They might be thinking about, oh, how do they ensure that they are not too stressed while they're working? How do they ensure that toilet facilities is very accessible and clean enough for them? Hygiene is also very important to them. But for new mothers are thinking of their babies, the crèche, access to it. How can they get there? How can they come back? And for general people as well, they're thinking about transportation, thinking about food access within the organization. How close is it? Proximity of certain facilities. Now, when we understand all of these different situations, by ensuring that we have one-on-one sessions of speaking with people, we can then know what we can do to adapt solutions that meet a variety of needs within the workplace.
Thank you very much. You've actually touched on some things that I want to further interrogate. You said part of your strategies um, to getting people open-minded, so to say, relaxed, is to have one-on-one with team members, or if it's a big organization, to have them in teams and all that. It gives that freedom for expression, for self-expression. So how do you use that type of problem solving strategy to actually get your team members to think out of the box? They have been doing things in a certain way, and you need innovation to really push forward.
Mm.
Like they say, you cannot be doing the same thing the same way and expect different results. So you want improvement. So how do you use this part of the strategies that you've mentioned today to now make them to achieve more by thinking out of the box?
Yeah, that's a very, very good question, man. So one of the things we do is to ensure that we also pay attention to how we reward success, how we reward innovative ideas, because those sort of recognition and reward boosts the morale of people, increases their confidence, and also shows other team members that they can also get there. They can also do the same thing and get rewarded, get recognized. So, for example, one of the things we did when we were having a challenging time was to create what we call a success wall. And on the success wall, it's a place where team members could publicly recognize and appreciate each other's contribution. So, for example, let's say I've worked together with someone on a project who has helped me tremendously to achieve the outcomes of the project. I can go to the success wall and recognize and publicly appreciate that person's contribution. Now, truthfully, everyone likes to be appreciated. Everyone likes to be recognized. Everyone likes that the input they have made is recognized, that is attributed to them at the end of the day. And so, what we do by doing this is to ensure that everyone is motivated to say, I want to think outside the box to also find an innovative solution. I want to make a contribution to this. People then spend time to creatively find a way to contribute to the organization, to helping us move forward, to helping us to deal with challenges. And by so doing, they also help themselves to become better people, better problem solvers, better people who can work collaboratively with other team members to achieve corporate success in the workplace.
You are very correct. There's eagerness to prove oneself,
Mm,
to prove a better version of yourself when you know you are going to be recognized, and it's like it forces you to do
absolutely.
more. So it's
Absolutely.
very correct.
Yes.
Now, resilience is a key quality during tough time. How do we instill a sense of resilience in our team members? And what measure can we take to ensure that they stay motivated despite the challenges?
Thank you very much for that very brilliant question. So I'll start with the first part about instilling the sense of resilience. Now, resilience comes when people understand that despite and in spite of current challenges, there is a greater goal or there's a bigger picture that the smaller effort can culminate to. Now, one of the things that causes frustration is when my current reality doesn't depict how I'm going to achieve my objective over a period of time. And that can be very frustrating. So, what we'll try to do is to let people understand that there is a bigger picture. But we're not going to get to the bigger picture without taking the baby steps. And so, even if the baby steps are challenging, they are steps that will culminate into the bigger picture that we want for the team. And so, even if there are setbacks, we see the setbacks as opportunities for team members to learn, for us to learn what is working and to learn what is not working. And so, we regularly communicate about this bigger picture and the need for us to collaborate more so that we can move ourselves towards that sense of purpose and build resilience within the team. The other thing is, the measures to ensure that they stay motivated during this period. And some other things we do is to also provide professional development opportunities. We cannot expect people to deliver beyond the level of input that we have given to them. There's something there's a saying I love very much that says that gravity is a natural phenomenon, but upthrust is a deliberate initiative. Now, what that means is that people don't fall up, people fall down. And all you need to do to fall down is to do nothing. If you do nothing, you fall down. It's a natural law, it's a natural phenomenon. But if you're going to climb up in life, it takes effort, it takes being deliberate, it takes being intentional. And so, if we expect teams to be motivated, to be resilient, we must also be professional and deliberate in providing opportunities that will groom such qualities within the team. So we provide learning opportunities, professional development opportunities, boot camps, training opportunities, because we know that in doing all of this, team members are faced with regular challenges that they can overcome. This helps them to build resilience, they improve on their skills, and then they become more adaptable with situations that we deal with.
You have pointed out the need for collaboration in your response to that question. And my
Hmm.
question on that is this: how do we encourage cross functional collaboration and unity within our team? We said if we do recognition and pay attention and give them room to aspire or excel, that has its own downside. Some people may want to go it in a siloed way. And as we have been talking about doing things together to achieve more, the Bible says one can chase 1,000, but two will chase 10,000. So how do we achieve cross-functional collaboration that can achieve more than just somebody striving on his own to be the champion in quotes, while we are losing the benefit of cross-functional collaboration within the team?
Yeah, I must admit that this is a challenge that many organizations are faced with. That many organizations are faced with. We've had instances of people who are very talented, but it's difficult for them to work with other people, and so they don't find the opportunity to share the talent with the team. And so one of the things we try to do is to also create support systems, both professionally and personally for team members. What do I mean by that? So, for example, in the workplace, we ensure that we have a mentoring scheme whereby new team members or new employees are attached to a professional body who is able to mentor them, who is able to help them learn the ropes, who is able to help them deal with challenges, anticipate challenges that might come, and prepare, appropriately to deal with those challenges. So it's like having a peer system where somebody is meant to look after you. You're meant to provide support system to someone. We must also recognize that as people move up the ladder of life, they often fall into three different categories. Now, the base of the ladder is survival, where people just need to survive. The next part of it is success, where people are looking for personal success. But oftentimes, there is a part of it that when people get to the top, they are not just concerned about their personal success anymore. They're looking for significance. And one of the ways to achieve significance is to help other people become successful. And so it's a two-way thing. People who have become leaders in organizations are no longer satisfied with just personal success. They want opportunity to be able to help other people become successful so they can achieve significance. And they can get that when you create a system where they have opportunity to mentor younger ones. For younger ones, they are looking for opportunity to move from the level of personal success to significance. And you provide that opportunity by also ensuring that they have someone they can speak to and learn from, to be able to also develop the skills and potentials, to fine-tune their potentials to get to that point. So that's one of the things we do. The other thing we do is to also encourage interdisciplinary meetings. So we don't want a situation where, because we're dealing with a project management matter, we tell people who are in admin and finance that they are not welcome because what we are dealing with is scientific or is that. No, we create opportunities for every member of the team to sit together and learn from each other. Those shared learnings, those cross-functional interactions are opportunities for us to build collaboration within different teams. There are opportunities for us to ensure that people don't break down working in silos, but that there's a sense of unity that we foster, that will strengthen relationships, that will celebrate success as a collective achievement. And so those are the things that we do. We reinforce this idea that overcoming the challenges requires the collaborative effort, and we inspire the whole team to work together seamlessly across different functions to achieve overall success.
That is very, very good and very um, encouraging, because some people think, let me just be seen to be making progress. But then we have to have that common goal that we all must work towards in achieving. So that also calls for cross-functional collaboration. Thank you very much for
Absolutely.
that response. So how do we balance setting challenging goals for our team with ensuring that they are realistic and achievable, particularly in these present times of uncertainty?
Mm. So I would answer this question from the standpoint of a project manager or someone who is vast with project management. Now, it's there is the temptation that in challenging times, and when we say challenging times, let's not forget that individuals are facing the challenges as well as the organization itself. Organizations, the cost of running a business is increasing. The organizations have an obligation to also meet the demands of the employees. And at the end of the day, they still need to be able to achieve the primary purpose of business, which is to make profits. Now, there are lots of competing demands, and you still want to ensure that profit margin is kept, good, so that investors or shareholders are happy. Now, but This is
Even for
where
their
the
growth, for continuity.
yes, even for growth and business continuity as well. Now, this is where we need to be very realistic with ourselves. No one is exempted from the challenges. Everyone is impacted, even if not equally, but everyone is grossly impacted. And we then need to be able to revise our goals. There are times that you may need to sit down with some persons that you've set some goals for and be able to talk them through it and understand if those goals are not attainable for them. But again, beyond that, understand why. Understand what could be the current challenges and allow flexibility in working systems. I think this is where we need to do a bit better in Nigeria. Now, we need to separate activity from productivity. I've seen a lot of businesses, pay more attention to activity. They want to see you moving up and down. They want to see you carry, the documents or the product or the service up and down, which is good. But one of the things we have to also encourage now is that people must be able to use their innovative ideas to become more productive. I would rather allow a team member to spend less time at work and more time to work from home if their productivity is not affected. So if someone is meant to do certain things, and those are things they can do from home and still be able to meet their targets, why do I need them to always come to the office? Because at the end of the day, they spend some time on the road, which is not productive times. They're going to probably get to workplace and be distracted by friends and colleagues that they speak to a lot of times. If productivity can be achieved with a different work style, then perhaps it's time that we need to start appraising those work styles. It's time we need to start embracing the reality that productivity is different from activity. And so long as people are productive, even if we have to change the work styles, the productivity is the main thing that we want to keep. So that's one point. And also just making sure that there are regular checkpoints. We can make adjustments as needed. For some people, we might need to reduce or adjust the goals to be more realistic. For some people, we can say, "Oh, you're doing fantastically well. Can you coach other people to help them become better? Can they learn from you on what you're doing right to be able to hit your targets?" So, encouraging this sort of open communication, empowering team members, allowing them to voice concerns, allowing them to be flexible with their choices of work or work styles, providing that flexibility to adapt our goals when necessary. I think those are things that can help us to foster, adaptable approach to goal setting and can ensure that regardless of times of uncertainty, we are setting realistic goals that are achievable and people are productive in meeting them.
Thank you very much. We'll go on a very short break, but before we do that, I would like to appreciate some of our online audience that are our usual supporters of Connect with Comfort. Taiwo Ojo from Abuja, Niyi Olajide FCA from Lagos, Dr. Aseyin Abel Aseyin from Abuja. Thank you very much for joining today. We'll go on a short break and be right back to continue. Please remain connected. You are welcome back. Thank you very much. Hello. Okay. Thank you very much. I want to ask, how do you address and manage any conflicts or challenges within the team that may be affecting motivation?
Yeah, that's a very important question. So conflict would often come. I think it's important that we also learn how conflict develops. So there is this analogy in project management that when team members come together, when you form a new team, they are all at the stage of what is called forming. And in that stage of forming is where everybody wants to avoid, everybody's being nice, everybody's trying to avoid stepping on each other's toes. That happens within the first few days of putting the team together. But what happens next is that people move from the stage of forming to the stage of storming. Storming is where we now bring out our true colors. I will now tell you that, oh, please, when I bring my mug to the workplace, don't use it for tea. I don't share my mug with anybody. And then somebody will say, "Ah, what is wrong with you? How can you take your jacket and put it on my chair?" And you see, that's the stage of storming. That's the stage where people are beginning to relax into their real selves.
Okay.
And because of that, they begin to have some sort of misunderstanding. It's a common thing. You cannot avoid it. Now, what happens is that after the stage of forming or storming, people move to the stage of numbing. The stage of numbing is where we now begin to make adjustments from ourselves to accommodate other people's differences. For example, I know somebody, Mr. A, doesn't like anyone using his cup. And then I try to also say, oh, I'm not going to use Mr. A's cup, but Mr. B doesn't mind. I can use Mr. B's cup. You just start learning about people. And so one of the things we can do to help manage conflict is to also allow people to learn these things, to learn, conflict resolution techniques. We create a grievance redress mechanism, GRM. Grievance redress mechanisms will tell you that if this happened, then this is the right person to speak to. This is what to do. We create a culture of certain things we value. So if we let everybody know that we value respect, we value, respecting other people, not talking down on other people, not making them feel bad. Those are things that we will ensure that people don't attack each other, but they deal with issues. And one of the lessons I always share with my team members is that always speak without offense and listen without defense. Those two key things are things that I see that help people a lot. When you speak and address the issue at hand and not the personality, and you say, oh, this specific thing that happened hurt me, and not just about the person, not using languages like, oh, you're never going to learn, you will never stop doing things like this, or you never do this thing. That's a personal attack on people. So we help people to learn these languages, this cultural and practices of the workplace. And really, that's what they call the workplace culturalization. So what happens is that you see that people begin to learn those positive behaviors and habits, and over time, it becomes easy for them to get along with other people. In fact, one of the things somebody had said is that if we all behave the way we do at work, we will have less conflict at home with our partners, which I think is very interesting.
Okay. Thank you very much. I was going to pick on what you said about talking down, attitude of talking down to people, and those two keywords that you said, which I think we can all borrow from that. Talk without offense, response without defense, or something like that.
Yes.
This even is a common place within the small business environment, where employees complain a lot about their employers, that it's like they are not treated like human beings and things like that, which can demotivate. So I think it's something we really need to um, learn. If you don't have that culture, so to say, we have to learn as employers. It's not just within the team now, we are talking of even the employers, to learn, because this job is a job that we cannot do by ourselves. Even if we are hands-on, we cannot do by ourselves. We need these people. So we have to learn to respect. It doesn't matter if they are employees. We have to learn to give consideration to their feelings and how they. I just think I need to emphasize that, because it's a common thing that you see in
Yes.
workplace, especially within the small businesses and maybe one man business
Business. Yeah.
setup. So thank you for really bringing that out.
Very true. Thank you very much. That's a common thing where employees look down on, employers, talk to them anyhow, but it doesn't help productivity, it doesn't help anybody. The company is going to be at loss if the employee is also not happy. And so it's important to learn these things, respect them, give them maximum respect, and it brings out the best in
Employer.
them. And that best, yes, and the best in the employees will also help the business to thrive.
Definitely. Thank you. So, are there any specific team building activities or initiatives that you have found effective in boosting motivation during challenging times so that our audience can borrow from that?
Oh yeah, one of them, of course, would be something that I call team getaway. Always create an opportunity, even if it's once a year, to allow team members to move outside of the regular office location to somewhere else. And don't talk about work in that place. Talk about something completely different. Maybe sorry about that. I think my network. So,
Yes, yes.
let people learn about finance, let them learn about life, let them learn about relationship, let them learn about, catering for themselves. So those team getaway, those are one opportunity. The other one is, maybe trainings. Training is also very good. Um, Team activities, you can ensure that you have a way to support everyone that is doing something. So if someone has given birth, if someone is suffering a loss, if someone is celebrating an event in their life, ensuring that the whole team, finds a way to support such people. Those are things that, I mean, those things even make people feel like they are part of something, that they're part of an organization, and then
Great
they feel
sense of
committed to
belonging.
that organization. Yes, it gives them a sense of belonging to that organization, and the organization can earn their loyalty in return.
Thank you very much, Ayodele. You've done wonderfully well. Just like a
You're
parting
welcome.
shot, what would be your parting shot on this topic as you take
Yeah,
away for our audience?
my parting shot for this topic will be, I will draw it from the last thing you mentioned about employers who don't give respect or who don't value their employees that much. And this is something I really want them to learn. The best businesses, the most successful businesses, are businesses where there is a flat structure. So, what I mean by flat structure is a structure where, because you are the boss, does not mean that you are like a god to anyone. You can speak openly, frankly, and honestly to anyone. If you have any challenge, in fact, that you are line managing someone doesn't mean that you are better than that person. It's just a structure. And so creating such organizational structure that is a bit flat and not very vertical. Nigerians will have something very, very vertical where someone would have to go 5 steps or 6 steps before they can talk to somebody else somewhere. It just makes you think that someone else is not approachable. The power play is too much. So ensuring that we don't allow power play within the organization to deprive us of the opportunity to maximize the potentials of team members. That would be my major takeaway. That organizations pay attention to ways they can maximize the potentials of team members and not allow power play within the organization to deprive them of that.
Very true. There's a question that came from one of our online audience, in fact, a regular viewer of this show, a colleague of mine, Mr. Femi Jayesimi, and those does. How do you manage employees who are disgruntled, notwithstanding that the employer is doing everything to make them happy in the organization?
Interesting question. So, sometimes we might need to have an independent body that also looks at conflicts between management and employees, because this falls in that category. Now, there are sometimes that we can say the management can help team members address conflicts within themselves, but who addresses the conflict between the management and the team member? Who addresses that? So sometimes you might need an independent entity that can help to look at conflict that is arising between employees and organizations. and then from in a very transparent manner be able to say, oh, this is what we think is happening, and this is what we think is best as a solution. So having that kind of independent entity examine issues between employee and employers is good. And if an employee is disgruntled and you've done the best you can do, I think the best is to invite them and say, oh, so what do you really want? Somebody cannot continue to, you can't be in a team and be playing against that team. Imagine you are a footballer, and in football, you hire a player to play for your team, but every time that player faces your own goalkeeper to score a goal against your team, then the person is already affecting the team's progress. So if somebody gets to the point where they feel they can no longer contribute to the progress of the team, then it might be a good time that they bow out, and then the organization can ensure that there is a transparent process to help them do that.
Okay, I appreciate that response. But let's also look at it, because most of the people we are addressing are the small businesses end of it. The example you gave is very correct for big organization when you are talking of independent conflict resolution team and things like that. Like example I gave earlier, if you are talking of like a one-man business, or at best two men business, if I can call it that, you do not have the luxury of having independent conflict resolution team or something like that, depending on the number of personnel in that organization. You can have a five personnel based organization. Who are you going to set as conflict managers or something else? So how do we situate this question into that environment?
Oh yeah, thank you very much. I recognize that it might be challenging for small businesses, but I think one thing to always do is you can always call such individual as the head of that organization and say, "This is what I've observed. Can you can we talk about this?" And if that attempt has been made, if you've tried all your best to have conversations with the person, I think the best thing is to let the person know that if they are not happy working for the organization, and that is affecting the productivity of the organization,
Of
then
others?
it's best to let them go. I think one
Yes.
of the things that small business owners also need to know is that there is a time to keep, there's a time to let go. There are people that,
Definitely.
even though you really want
Whatever
them,
you do.
if being on the team is not helping the team, then you need to learn how to let them go so that they
That's true.
can, they don't continue to affect the business negatively.
Very, very correct. Thank you very much. Thank
You're
you
welcome.
for all the great insights that you have shared into this topic. I'm
You're
sure
welcome.
we all learn one new or two things from it. We appreciate your time on Connect with
Thank you
Comfort
so much,
Show,
man.
and we do not take it for granted that you are able to come and share your wealth of experience with us. And we hope that we will not sound as Oliver Twist should we come calling next time for
No, no
similar
problem.
topic. Thank you very,
Of
very
course,
much,
to be my
Ayodele.
pleasure. Thank
I
you very much.
I
Thank you, man.
appreciate you a lot. Thank you. So
Thank you
we'll
so much. All the
quickly,
best.
yeah, thank you. So we'll quickly go to a short break and have a wrap up and conclude the show. Please remain connected. Thank you very much for remaining connected. We have had a wonderful time with our guest speaker today. Well, if I call it speaker, the guest of today's show, our expert in the house, Mr. Ayodele Awi. He has made us to understand so many things. And now, as a wrap up, I would just like to emphasize First and foremost, we need to acknowledge the current difficulties that our organization is faced with, either difficulties or uncertainty that we're faced with, because a problem that is known is half solved. And we need to also emphasize to let everybody know that we're in this together, so that all efforts can be put together to make sure that we find solution. Ways of getting around that also is setting clear goals. You need to set clear goals and communicate same to all. Uh, as much as possible, break down larger objectives into smaller ones for people to be able to appreciate the type of challenges and what we need to do as a team. Emphasizing purpose. You cannot have a team bonding if you do not understand the purpose which the team is supposed to achieve. You need to have that um, reminder for the importance of the work and the impact that it has on the organization goal and beyond. We also need to encourage and foster open communication. That's one our guest speaker really emphasized on. We have to have open communication to encourage dialogue and make so that we get feedback. It also make people feel they belong and create a sense of safety in the workplace for members to thrive. We must recognize and celebrate achievements. We celebrate our small wins and make regular acknowledgements and celebrate team success, so that they will be able to be encouraged to be able to do more. We should also highlight individual and collective achievement. We must be ready to provide support. He talked about training and empathy too has a lot to do in team encouragement. You need to share the feelings that others are having. If it's for celebration, we celebrate with them. And if it's time to show empathy, we show empathy. Then we need to promote work-life balance. When he told us that we must have time, indirectly to say have time to rest. Work-life balance is essential because it gets you refreshed when you are able to have a getaway sometimes during working cycle, so that you can come refreshed and be able to contribute more. Then the leaders of teams should also lead by example. That will get people to have more resilient and positive attitude in the face of challenges. It will help us to showcase a strong work ethic and commitment. We need to encourage camaraderie and collaboration among team members. That is something that is very important. Otherwise, you find people working on their own, in their own cocoon, like in silos, which will not give us the ultimate performance. So sometimes you do some activities, team bonding activities, either virtually or physically, to strengthen relationship. Then continuous learning, whichever type of learning you require, both for the skill or personal growth too, should be encouraged. And we must at all time instill confidence in our team members. And like the one we talked about as the last part, yes, we would like to keep everybody, but if it gets to the stage that somebody is consistently showing as the weakest link, you must be ready to let them go, because your team is as strong as the weakest link. So that those are the wrap up I could make quickly within the time available. I guess I've really dealt with the topic exhaustively, and he has given us a lot of insight. I hope we have found um, useful tips in all this. Remember, a motivated team is a powerful force capable of overcoming obstacles and achieving remarkable results. However, success is not just a destination but a journey. and it is the journey that defines our character and shapes our achievement. Motivation is not a one-time effort either. It is a continuous process. So let us remain vigilant in cultivating a positive and empowering atmosphere. I would like to especially appreciate all our online audience for sparing time to connect with us today for this enlightening section on motivating your team for success in times like this. We know we are in challenging time, but with all the tips we've gotten and hard work, we'll be able to surmount it. I hope you have enjoyed today's episode. Please remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Comfort Eyitayo. Once you have subscribed, please turn on the notification button, like, and share our videos. Stay updated with information about upcoming events, solutions, and offers on my Instagram account at Comfort Eyitayo, as well as my Facebook at Comfort Eyitayo. Till I come your way again, continue to work together and remain motivated to achieve success and accomplish great things. I wish you best of luck. Bye.